the identification that we claim to be solely ours, that no other party, no other political party today carries these principles. And the statement goes, from movements of the Save the Nation, the Solidarity for Sovereignty, and now the Citizen National Guard, a new political party rises, the Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, the KDP. We generated support on the basis of ideas and reacted to people's anger and frustration. We formed the political party due to our people's clamor to provide an alternative to the same old corrupt politicians whose hands are all soiled with stolen money and who cheated to become senators or congressmen. We shall be a party of principle, not of convenience, a party of ideas, not of personalities. We believe that with the list of potential candidates generated from a survey among members of the different movements, we can come up with a team of winners, not just to join debates, but eventually to seize collective leadership which will implement programs that directly benefit the Filipino people. It is our hope, with God's grace and intervention, trusting on our people's determination to fulfill our quest for a Philippine Renaissance, we shall succeed. President Duterte defied the odds because he inspired our people. We intend to follow his example of sincerity and courage. He trusted God and the Filipino people. So should we. We intend to take up three main issues which have been so far ignored by all other political parties. Number one, electoral fraud by COMELEC through the Smartmatic, a destruction of the right to suffrage. Number two, the Dengvaxia genocidal scam, massive corruption and killing of innocents. Number three, the high cost of electricity and water, the biggest burden to families and businesses, among the highest electricity rates in the world, controlled by the oligarchy through the immoral EPIRA law. All these have a direct impact on our quality of life, and we will provide solutions to this. Moreover, we shall present to our people not empty promises, but a program of government which defines the party's philosophy. An economic policy which will move towards the path of agro-industrial development and away from being a service economy and the world's domestic helpers. The world is now facing its worst financial economic crisis in history. Our country is not prepared to face the effects of a global financial meltdown. The new paradigm initiated by China and Russia and a host of other countries through the One Belt, One Road is the only clear alternative available to us to survive the coming catastrophe. We must take advantage of these and actively participate in infrastructure building, in energy and water management projects for our preparation and survival. Also, we must review the terms and nature of our commitment to shoulder onerous and immoral foreign debt service payments, now the largest financial drain in our budget. On foreign policy, a foreign policy which participates in the effort to prevent World War III and move towards global peace and economic development. We must consciously avoid being sucked into geopolitical movements of superpowers which will threaten the security of our nation and the lives of our population. We are a friend to all nations and the enemy of none. On education, an education policy exposed to the fields of sciences, engineering, and the best of classical culture, all focused on developing the inherent Filipino creativity in achieving the national objective of a Renaissance Philippines. We must prepare a policy in education that will support the national goals of agro-industrialization and infrastructure development, which will require a redirection of the education of our youth. On agriculture policy, no one country can rightfully call itself a nation who cannot feed its own people. Given the chance, our party shall move to embark in a program of massive food production, which is science-driven and infrastructure-based, to produce much, much more than what is merely enough for our people. We should not be dependent on importation of our food needs anymore. We do not subscribe to import liberalization as a policy and be dependent on others for our survival. This is a critical element in providing for a healthy and intelligent workforce to meet the demands of industrial growth. On social welfare, we aim to address the welfare of the forgotten Filipinos, those who constitute the most fundamental unit of the Philippine society, the family. Contrary to the constitutional provision, the family has been battered by socio-economic policies which tend to destroy rather than to protect it. Economic programs, proliferation of drugs, morally questionable TV shows, and a general miseducation of our youth are but a few aspects which threaten the sacred values of the traditional Filipino family. The dismantling of families has left its youthful members at the mercy of hostile environment, getting sucked into drug addiction and crime. Likewise, more of the forgotten Filipinos are the 30 million of our cultural minorities who have been ignored by national governments for decades, leaving them vulnerable to destructive ideologies and terrorist influences. All this and more will be articulated in different fora and campaign sorties. We hope to reach and inspire all citizens to see in us a party for the future. Ang partido para sa kinabukasan. Ang Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, KDP. Maraming salamat po.